Hello and Merry Christmas from the Women's Ministry team. A brief conversation a few months ago led to this idea. How could we come and encourage you this Christmas season? And so we thought maybe this year, this calendar year, instead of adding another event to your calendar, we thought perhaps meeting you through video would be a way to encourage you. So it is our hope that this video can give you the opportunity to pause and consider the season in which we find ourselves already in the midst of. When I have the opportunity to talk to women about the month of December and the Christmas season, I often ask the question, what is it that you most want or need in this season? And obviously the answers vary from woman to woman, but I've kind of narrowed it down to these two categories. A lot of times I hear the question of how. How can we live in the month of December with sanity, with the increased expectations and to-do lists and the excessive demands on our time and our schedule and our energy and our finances, the strain of relationships and extended family, and just all the what do we do? How do we do this well? Women have a desire to enjoy and be fully present with what's going on in their real lives, but they wonder, how can we do that? And then on the other side, I would say a lot of the questions and what we need or desire most in this time, in this season, is why. You see, many of us, if you've grown up in church or you're recent to church or you've lived anywhere in the Western world, you've heard that Jesus is the reason for the season. So we carry that knowledge with us. And for in church, we hear that the season is a season of hope and joy and love and peace. But in our most quiet moments, when we're really still, we say, you know what? I'm not really experiencing that. So we have this knowledge of what the priorities should be in this time of year, and yet we are honest with ourselves. We aren't experiencing that. And so wherever you are today, in this moment, I would encourage you to find out how you relate to some statements I'm going to share. Some of us this year are carrying joy and expectation of what this season can bring. Some of us are carrying the joys of firsts. Some of us are carrying long to-do lists and growing expectations. Some of us carry painful anniversaries. Some carry heavy burdens and loss, as well as broken heartedness. Whatever it is that you're carrying this season, the joys and triumphs, the pains and discouragements, I would encourage you to let it rise to the surface of your heart and in your mind and in your emotions. Let it rise to the surface. And I'm going to say that because I love the lyric from Joy to the World that says, let us prepare him room. And so to prepare room in our lives and our hearts and our emotion is to let things rise to the surface, not push them down and let them creep into every crevice of our lives, but let them rise to the surface so that we can prepare him room. I'd like to look to Scripture to share just one idea of what we are preparing room for this Christmas. We're going to read from John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. And I know that for a lot of the Christmas season, we enjoy the narratives in the Gospels of Matthew and in Luke, because it just tells us the whole story and sets it up. But John goes about it in a slightly different and more poetic way. In fact, when I read this, you're going to hear the phrase, the word, used many times, and that's referring to Jesus Christ himself. But I want to set this up because there's just such a beautiful image and picture for us that I think can apply to us and encourage us this Christmas season. John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." You see, Jesus Christ is the light of life. He is the light to the entire world. And so as we prepare room, we make space for him to enter into our lives. We recognize that he is the light. I'd also like to share a scripture that comes about 700 years before Jesus walked on earth, and it's from Isaiah, and it's a prophecy about Jesus, who is the Messiah. It says this: "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned." You see, the light has dawned in the person of Jesus Christ. And we can be very mindful and present with that reality today in this season of Christmas. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like I'm walking around in darkness, and I can really relate to that passage from Isaiah, that I'm walking in darkness. And certainly when I look to circumstances around us in this world, there is much that is darkness. But I love the promise and the hope that John concludes, because it says that the darkness cannot overcome it, meaning the light. The light will always triumph over the dark. And that is what the hope of Christmas is to each and every one of us. So whether you feel run down by the hows in administrating a picture-perfect Christmas, with long to-do lists and expectations that you don't know what to do with, or perhaps you're carrying heavy burdens that are interrupting your experiencing of the why of Christmas, the opportunity is the same for all of us. Invite the light of Christ into our life, our actual, real, everyday, ordinary, sometimes even chaotic Christmas, the way it is right now. The darkness of busy schedules, stress, unrealistic expectations, broken circumstances, uncertainty, and the like cannot swallow the light. The light of Christ cannot be overcome. I think sometimes we get to this season, this far into the month of December, and we say, you know what? I've already kind of missed it for this season. Next year will be the one that I focus on making it more Christ-centered and getting my act together. But the truth is that no matter where we are, we can pause. We can consider that we have the ability and the invitation to invite Christ into our life. And so, to end this devotional, I would love to encourage you with 2 questions. And this is the first one. In this season, what darkness is threatening to overwhelm you? Perhaps it's financial strain and insecurity. Maybe it's uncertainty about the future, the difficulty of dealing with unfulfilled longings and desires, or fractured relationships. Maybe you are trying to hide something from God, or maybe you've been running from him for a long time. Name the darkness. You see, that darkness cannot overwhelm the light. And we can invite the light of life to dispel the darkness we are experiencing. But we name it. And then as we turn to the scripture and we see that the light shines in darkness and the darkness has not overcome it, here's the second question. How could believing this truth help your Christmas look different this year? It is not too late. You're not too far gone. Your circumstances are not so hopeless that there isn't the opportunity to invite that light into your life. For those of us who have professed faith in Jesus Christ, this is another reminder that daily we can renew our minds with his truth and invite him afresh, and his mercies are new each and every day. This is that opportunity to speak against the darkness and invite his light to overcome. And if you've never placed your faith in Jesus Christ, this is a wonderful opportunity once again to confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord, and you will be saved. And you can leave spiritual darkness and enter into the kingdom of light, of which Jesus came to offer us that opportunity. And so the encouragement today is that no matter where you find yourself this Christmas season, show up. Show up where you are as you are, and open yourself to the light of the world this Christmas. If you would like to interact certainly leave a comment on the video or in social media where you found this, or in whatever way you were shared with this information. And if it has blessed you, feel free to share it with others that you think it might benefit. And if you'd like to dig a little deeper into the scriptures, there's a PDF file that is attached to this video in the description of it. You can feel free to download that and just dig a little deeper into the scriptures about Christ being the light of the world. And it is just my hope and the hope of the women's ministry team that you would have a blessed and light-filled Christmas this year. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye.